And Kevin Walling. And Kevin, you look at this from a Democratic perspective and you wonder, he makes a very good point, Sean, about Nancy Pelosi was precise. She had her people in line. And you wonder if Kevin McCarthy will have his, because he doesn't have a lot of room for error, nor did Nancy Pelosi. And you think going forward that the Democrats' goal, and Nancy Pelosi at the time, she had the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Pramila Jayapals of the world that were constantly a pain, in the derriere, for lack of a better term, to Nancy Pelosi and some of the moderate Democrats. And now Kevin McCarthy, has the Freedom Caucus, and they're making sure that it's well known that they are going to have things the way they want things.
Yeah, it's certainly true, Trace, and good morning. I think in the immortal words of Jerry Ford, our national nightmare is over. 4 days, 15 ballots later. And I couldn't agree more with Sean's comment about Speaker Pelosi. She knew where the votes were on every major piece of legislation and wouldn't bring anything to the floor without that. And I think you're going to see, to the points made by Chad and Brett earlier, Leader McCarthy struggled with this, with his whip team, with Patrick McHenry, with Tom Elmer. The fact that they were so confident this afternoon that he had locked that in going into that 14th vote, to be surprised, to be shocked on that floor. Then you had that motion around adjournment. And the kind of cattle call that went forward. And in the coming hours and days, we will see just what now Speaker-designate McCarthy gave up to get that 216th vote. And we'll see what is in that rules package. As Chad just mentioned, Tony Gonzalez, Republican from Texas, has already said that he is not on board with that rules package. They're going to have a fight on their hands. And that's the whole House that votes on that. That's just not Republicans in power. That's Democrats, too. So we'll see what kind of negotiations go on. And that's where the money hits the road there in terms of the rules, because that, as your point, Trace, earlier, that sets all the committees in motion, the number of members on those committees from both parties, all of those key things that really function behind Congress. And we'll see how that plays out starting on Monday.
Yeah, and just to point out, Jason Chaffetz, you see there on the right-hand side of the screen, there are members of Congress with their children in there. So they brought the kids in like, listen, I know it's 12:53 in the morning on the East Coast on Capitol Hill, but this is a big day, and we need some young people, we need some children in there to make this thing festive, like you brought your 2 daughters in. Jason.
Their mom or dad. I think that's exactly what they should be doing. I think that's it's great. They have a lot easier time staying up at 1 o'clock in the morning than their parents do. I can tell you that. And some of them maybe have grandparents down there. But it's a neat moment, and it's great to see those kids. And I tell you, I cherish that picture as much as anything. If I can comment, Trace, on the ability to get things done. Nancy Pelosi brought back earmarks. That's the political sugar that makes the medicine go down. And that's why you had bills with literally that 1.7 trillion had something like 7,500 earmarks. And part of the commitment that Kevin McCarthy is making and the Republicans that push for this is to get rid of earmarks. Now, there's some Republicans that believe there should be earmarks, and there's an argument for that. But I happen to be in the camp that I said I think they should get rid of them. It makes legislating and passing legislation more difficult because you don't throw in a bridge for somebody or funding for a dam. That makes it harder for somebody to get to yes. It takes away a tool from a speaker, and it makes it more difficult, but I think it is the right public policy.
Yeah, stand by if you will, Jason. Want to get back to Chad Pergram now. Chad, can you give us kind of a rundown here, give us a lay of the land, and kind of what we can look forward to here in the next several minutes to an hour to give us an idea of what we might see as far as compelling pictures and symbolism?
It's a little bit like State of the Union in miniature when they bring the speaker in. Everybody will stand up and cheer, probably Democrats as well, out of respect. They respect the office of the speakership. Probably some handshakes, a lot of hugs, bringing him down the center aisle. It's going to be a big contingent because, again, this isn't a speaker from a small state, South Dakota, Delaware, something like that. It's from California, the biggest delegation of all. So they'll bring him down the chamber, the center aisle. And it looks like right now there's some applause in the chamber, so it looks like they're about to do this.